What's up, YouTube? Casual Commander here. Today I'm going to do a discussion video, and I apologize because it's going to be a little jank, but I'm going to do a rant about the top 3 cards I want banned from Commander and the top 3 cards I want unbanned from Commander. This is just my opinion, my experiences. I'm a competitive casual player, but I'm still like, there's just certain cards I'm like, absolutely not. Like, the thing with the ban list is when they say, well, it's rule 0, up to your guys' interpretation. The problem with that is that there's going to be people that literally go, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I don't care. I'm going to play this stuff anyway. And it's annoying. And then there's other stuff that I'm like, in moderation, it's actually not that bad. Or the bannings that they did for it, I'm like, there's no consistency because there's certain cards that they go, that's not fun for anybody. But then there's other cards that I'm like, why is that legal? Because that's not fun if that resolves either. So anyway, let's get into it. My number 3 card that I want banned will be, and like I said, this is jank. That's Serra's Ascendant. Serra Ascendant. So the problem I have with Serra Ascendant, like most people have said, is that, you know, you start the game off and like your opponent's playing a life gain deck or something like that, and you're like, all right, turn 1, I just play a land, that's it. And they go, cool, turn 1, I play this 6/6 lifelinker with flying. Good luck. And people go, like the rules committee, I think they're like, well, you know, but it's not actually going to like win the game. And I'm like, yeah, but they're going to be up by like 2 attacks to this thing, like on turn 3, because you're probably not going to get a flying blocker by then. And it has lifelink. That's another rant I have is lifelink and why it's a busted mechanic. Is that by their turn 3, they're going to have 52 life. And if they split up the damage, you and another opponent are going to be down 6, or they may just go after you because they don't like your deck. And you might be down 12 life on turn 3. Does that sound fair for 1 card that they got? I heard something about like they can't errata the card, they can't change it. Literally, if you want to make Serra Ascendant, like this is the 1 card I have that you could change it and it probably could be played. Is instead of saying if you have 30 more life, just say if you have 10 more life than your starting life total, here you go. And that's all it needs. And like, yeah, sure, if my opponent's got 50 life, no problem. You want to drop Serra Ascendant, 1 drop that has that? Cool. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. But anyone that, like, on the surface, I used to look at this card and be like, oh, that's not that bad. Like, even, yeah, 6/6 fly, okay, whatever, that's not that bad. When it happens to you, like, on turn 1, Serra Ascendant later on the game, whatever, but, like, on turn 1, it is that bad. It's that bad. All right, the next one, my number 2 pick that I want banned. Cyclonic Rift. So I started like really getting into Commander in the last couple years, and obviously that is in no small part to the growth of game nights. Obviously, I had friends that I played, but the YouTube channel Command Zone, they have their game nights their section where they actually, you know, play an actual game. And man, Josh Lee Kwai, I mean, if he ever sees this and I ever, you know, like I don't know, if something ever happens where I got to be on their channel, that'd be cool. But without knowing the guy, he looks like the kind of person I would hate to play Commander with because he turns decks where it's supposed to, you're supposed to do this specific thing, and he turns it into staples of whatever color he's playing, and normally he always has blue, so he can play stuff like Cyclonic Rift and Rhystic Study. Rhystic Study is a card that I'm like, that card, it's really powerful, and I hate that like almost every competitive blue deck runs it, but at the same time, Rhystic Study, it leads to wins in a way, but at the same time it's not, I don't hate it. Cyclonic Rift is a card that, like, I've listened to Josh Lee Kwai after he's played it, and he goes, Cyclonic Rift is not the reason why I won the game. And then in the same breath, he's also like, Cyclonic Rift answers all my problems because all my opponents have to start from, you know, turn 1. Yeah, they have lands, but they have to restart their boards, and I'm like, good to just keep doing what I'm doing. For 7 mana to bounce everything, like River's Rebuke is a card that I really like, and that targets 1 opponent, and they bounce all non-land permanents. And it's a sorcery. I think Cyclonic Rift should have never been made, or maybe obviously when they made it, they weren't thinking that much about Commander, but that's why we have the ban list, is for them to talk about stuff that's not fun, not fair, doesn't add anything to the game, and like can kind of win out of nowhere, and that's exactly what Cyclonic Rift does. In my play group, no one really plays it because it's kind of one of those unwritten rules of like, you play Cyclonic Rift, you're kind of a douchebag. Like, you just want to bounce everything back, cool, all cost you a 7, and like, okay, cool, we got lands back. But I hear people talk about Armageddon, how Armageddon should be banned. In my opinion, Armageddon is a lot harder to be like, I'm in this huge position of power. You have to have some setup, like, you know, an Avacyn to protect your own lands, or already have like big creatures that are like, in my Kaalia deck, I could cheat out bigger stuff without the land. So it's like I can have a little bit of synergy with there. But most times when someone plays Armageddon, they're just like, I want to reset the board. Even though people may say that's not enjoyable, that's still, for the most part, like 90% of the time, when someone plays Armageddon just by itself, the game is going to be slowed down, sure, started back, sure, but like no one's in like this huge lead. Cyclonic Rift, that's not the case. And for 3 more mana, just bounce every other person's stuff back to their hand except their lands, and then like, oh, it's a free-for-all, I'll just keep doing my thing. Oh yeah, you guys can play 2. Well, you play a mana rock and then like some creature, that's it, that's your turn, cool. I'll go ahead and win the game. I just think it's stupid. People have talked about before that like Cyclonic Rift, unlike some of the other board wipes, like if I play like a Wrath of God, someone could have Indestructible and it won't do anything, or that, like they could have something equipped to their creature. Cyclonic Rift, that doesn't matter, like, because you're not going to have something that can't not be bounced back, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, yeah, I hate Cyclonic Rift, and you're like a tool. In my opinion, you're a tool for playing it. I have another rant with the difference between competitive EDH players and casual players. Casual players are still competitive in what they're doing, but they have the wherewithal to look at a card and go like, that's probably not fun. I don't want to win that way. Like, having fun doing what I really want to do is more than just playing a generic card that everyone already knows is good. Anyway, all right, long enough on that one. Next card, my number 1 card that I want banned, Sol Ring. So, in my play group, it's the only card that we've unanimously decided that, like, doesn't matter, you will not bring Sol Ring to our group and play it. And we explain this to other people that, like, come in and play with us, and they're like, oh, Sol Ring, okay, all right. I mean, normally they don't have a problem with it, they just have to take out the Sol Rings out of their deck. I don't understand a card that goes, like, Command Tower you could put here, not as bad, but any card that can go in every single EDH deck and is supposed to go in every single EDH deck, I have a problem with. The difference in Command Tower is Command Tower doesn't put you ahead. It just goes, okay, I can count for any mana that you want out of your commander's color identity. And I'm like, okay, that helps. I really don't like Command Tower. I wish it didn't exist. But at the same time, if someone plays a Command Tower, I'm not like, how dare you? Sol Ring, someone plays a Sol Ring and you're like, okay, so you instantly ramp up ahead. You probably built your deck where if you did get a Sol Ring, you got a bunch of low drops to take advantage of that on your turn 1. That's cool. And someone else has like talked about this before. They go like, everyone else is still on their turn 1, turn 2, and you're like on turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. And that's a problem. And that should be part of their rules. Nitpicky Nerds, that's what they did. They did a video today and they were talking about it. Kind of wanted me to do this video. But yeah, it's like, that's not fair. We talk about like what commander should be. There shouldn't be a card that costs 1 that basically just puts this one person up to this huge advantage. And it'd be different if the card had like some color identity in it, that only certain decks could play it. But the fact that it's colorless artifact, for 1, ramps you by 2 every turn, just, oh, here's 2 mana, here's 2 mana, have a huge problem with it. I hate the card. I wish it didn't exist. I would rip up every copy that I could. If you play Sol, I just don't understand, like, why the committee won't touch this card. Like, who do you think you're actually helping out? You're not helping out, like, new players, because new players are going to be wanting to play cool things that they like, and do more synergies with the deck. Sol Ring doesn't synergize with your deck. Like, maybe if you play a bunch of low drops, but even then, like, it helps everybody, and that's the problem. So I have a big problem with that. So anyway, that's the stuff that I hate that I really want gone. There's more stuff that I would like gone, but those are the main 3 for right now. And in the rules committee, here's another quick tiny rant. You have a ban list. You clearly have already used it. Why don't you guys actually like be more active? Because there's a lot of other stuff out there that us players that want to play all the time, you can say, oh, it's your play group, it's your play group, it's your play group. Okay, my play group wants to follow by the rules, follow by your rules, which I don't understand how this random committee gets to decide on high everything. But anyway, they're not consistent, because really their rule 0 thing should be that there's no ban list and anyone just chooses whatever. But then there's certain cards that they go, you're not allowed to play that. That's not fun for anybody, which I don't think is true. There's a lot of cards in Magic that are not fun once they resolve, but the difference is they usually have mana cost, and it's usually your win condition and how you get there. I don't like that they're okay with like low drop cards that put this person in this huge lead. They're okay with that. Anyway, so for my next 3 cards, these are cards that I want unbanned. So my number 3 is Sylvan Primordial. So I have a Yarok the Desecrated deck, and I'll just say that from the get-go. That like, I would love to do Yarok, Sylvan Primordial, and just blow up, oh, you can't blow up a creature, but like you can blow up anything else, including their lands, and I like to double and triple that ETB effect. And then for everything that gets popped, I get to go search a forest and put it on the battlefield tab, and I'm reading the effect to make sure I don't mess it up. But while that is a great effect that, like, in multiplayer format in Commander, if we have 3 other opponents, that I could be like, cool, you guys each lose a land, and I'll gain 3 lands from it. And obviously I could double that and triple that effect. Obviously not every deck's going to be able to do that. But with that being said, he's a 6/8 with reach. That's not amazing right there. So we're talking about that your opponents go down 1 piece of advantage, 1 card, and I get to go up +3. Like, I get to gain 3 more lands out of it. Do we not have anything that's more bust than that? Cyclonic Rift is okay. That, like, you know, yeah, you can't touch lands, but like Cyclonic Rift, I can bounce all your stuff back and I'll be good. And that's okay for 7 mana. But Sylvan Primordial is not okay. I don't understand that. If they were thinking that, like, someone would build around Sylvan Primordial, or that, like, you know, I've heard people talk about Primeval Titan where they say, like, the game just becomes focused about that. The difference is, like, Primeval Titan, you could take control of it and it would, like, get its abilities because it's attacking, and it's like, that's a problem. Sylvan Primordial, once it's come out, it's done its thing. Yeah, you could, like, you know, blink it, or you could, like, you know, bring it back from the graveyard, but at the same time, it's like, there are plenty of cards that are extremely dangerous, and Eternal Witness is dangerous as a card that you can blink to grab certain combo pieces back. So I don't really understand why this card's banned, because it's not. It is very powerful, and you could definitely make it more powerful by doubling and tripling its ETB effect. That being said, it's not something that I think can't exist in this format. That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, my number 2 card is Griselbrand. That's a different artwork, but I love Griselbrand. So my number 2 Griselbrand, the reason why I think this card should come back, 1, it has 4 black, like hard black, in its mana cost that you can't reduce. That's the cat. Sorry if you guys hear that. So it's an 8 mana creature that has 4 black that cannot be reduced. 7/7 flying lifelink, pay 7, draw 7 cards. So my first reason for wanting back is it's a demon, and that's awesome. And I have a Kaalia deck that I would love to play Griselbrand in. He wouldn't even be my commander. The pay 7, draw 7, obviously, like, oh, it has lifelink, they'll get the 7 life back. I guess if it's able to attack right away, but if it's not able to attack right away, it sits there, pay 7, draw 7. Is that the most busted thing ever? No. Clearly, you know, the rules committee, they're I don't understand their reasoning. You have a 1-drop that has lifelink, and that's 6/6 flying in Sarah's Ascendant, and that's okay. But Griselbrand that costs 8, that's not okay. Pay 7, draw 7 cards. Is still, like, it's going to take some time to get that card out. The pay 7, draw 7, you could, you know, deck yourself out, but, like, why not ban the cards that say, like, you win the game with no cards in your deck? Why is this one so crazy that they do that? Pay 7, draw 7 cards. We still only have 40 life. It's not like we have 100 life. And yes, a life gain deck could exist, but we have so many cards that interact with your life total that I'm like, is Griselbrand the most broken one? I don't think so. Someone else brought this up. I don't remember who it was, but someone said, it's not like this card can draw, like, you know, pay 1, draw 1. Like, it can't do that. It has to pay 7 and draw 7. So, like, if you're trying to search for an exact thing, you may be paying too much life or drawing too many cards where you have to discard at the end of your turn. Cards that can draw 7, like, there are plenty of cards that exist in this format that allow you to draw up to 7 cards, and they're not banned. I don't understand, like, the fact that this could be your commander, okay, cool. It still costs 8 mana. I'm not saying that's impossible, but what I'm saying is that it's not gonna instantly, like, come out and be like, I'm gonna take over the game. Like, that's gonna take some time. So I don't understand that. I think it's a cool creature. It looks awesome. I don't know a single person that's like, I wouldn't want to play that card because it looks so cool. Like, everyone does. And it's not indestructible. It doesn't tell someone you can't play the game, so I don't understand that. Okay, so my last one, my number 1 pick, and off of what I just said, you might think I'm contradicting myself. It's Iona, Shield of Emeria. So when I first got into, like, Commander, and I was like, okay, what decks do I want to make? Like, my 3rd deck I wanted to make was Kaalia, and I was like, okay, cool. What angels, demons, and dragons can I grab? I saw Iona, and I was like, you're going in the deck. I'd love to. And then, like, I looked it up, and I was like, oh, she's banned. And, okay, so her effect, she's a 9-mana creature, 3 hard white that can't be reduced, 6 generic. She's a 7/7 flying angel. When she enters the battlefield, choose a color. Your opponents can't cast spells of the chosen color. Okay, so I have 2 different, like, kind of topics I want to hit. The first is, like, could this card be errated where maybe they'd accept it? Like, because the only thing I'm thinking is that they don't want you, like, bringing it back, like, cheating it, like, milling it, and then getting it back out or something like that, because it just is ETBs. So if they wanted to change it to cast Iona, I wouldn't even have that big a problem with that. I'd be like, okay, fine. Yeah. Although that being said, I still don't think that needs to happen. So your opponents can't cast spells of the chosen color. When you ETBs, you choose a color. So people say, like, oh, well, that prevents, like, a monocolor deck from playing the game. Since I've been playing Commander with my buddies for, like, the last 3 years, the amount of mono decks I've seen, I think, is one. Or maybe two. Two, probably. I think I've seen a mono blue deck that was Braids, and I've seen a mono red deck with that dwarf commander from Kaldheim that can, like, cheat out artifacts and dragons. And I think that was pretty cool. But, like, other than that, I don't know what deck I'm completely stopping. I do think that there are cards, we have sorceries that say, like, it's a 9-mana card, like blue, take an extra turn or whatever, and, like, take an extra turn after this one. And I'm like, those cards exist? That's okay. But Iona, one color can't be casted. No, you can't do that. It doesn't have indestructible. It doesn't have hexproof. You can get rid of it. I don't understand this. I really don't, because we have too many cards that can make infinite mana and make someone take infinite extra turns, and those are okay for cheaper cost than Iona. That doesn't make any sense to me. If someone's playing 2-color deck, let's say it's like green-black, and I get Iona out, and I go, like, you can't do black cards. Okay, they still have green. They should still have a decent ramp in their deck, and they might be able to get another creature that can do more damage to me. Like, that's the thing, is like, yeah, it's 7 damage, it's flying, I get that, but, like, it can still be answered. And let's say on the opposite end, I call green, so they can't ramp, can't play a lot of their powerful creatures, but they still have black, and black has removal, and black has some, like, creatures that can get rid of some stuff. So I'm like, they probably could get out of that, or one of their buddies could help them out, who knows. Obviously, my rule, if I'm playing, like, Macalia deck, my rule would be I'm not going to call one of the colors that I have, so I would call either blue or call green. Blue-green are the most powerful colors in the format, so I'm like, is it that bad of a thing? If anyone's ever gone against, like, a Simic deck, like, it's ridiculous. Like, for you to be able to slow that down, I think that's fair for 9 mana. And you don't win the game right away. People may think that. The only way you would win the game is if you called one color, and every single opponent was playing a 1-color deck that was all that color. That's it. I mean, it depends on when you play it, what you have, but you could say that about every Magic card. So, that's the end of this section. But what I would say to, like I said, the rules committee is, I don't understand what criteria. They say that, they put that on the website, like, here's the criteria. And I'm like, but you guys aren't following that. Because there are cards, like, even cards I didn't name, like Skull Clamp, that I really don't like, that, you know, like, there are cards that say, like, sack a creature, get mana. And then there's, like, Skull Clamp, you get mana, you can pay 1 to play it, pay 1, equip, and then, like, cool, I'll equip it, the creature dies, I draw 2 cards, and we can just keep doing this, and they'll just, like, keep going through their deck. And it's annoying. I would ban other cards that I didn't name. I would ban cards that, like I said, can sack for mana. I think that's just, like, you shouldn't be doing that. Gaia's Cradle is a land that they want to be like, we don't, land destruction is frowned upon, which for me, I don't care. I think land destruction, land's a resource. I think you should be able to, like, pop them, in my opinion. When they say that's not fun, to me, someone getting infinite mana isn't fun. Taking extra turns isn't fun. Making 1,000 copies of things that they shouldn't be able to do isn't fun. So yeah, I don't know, just weird criteria that they just choose, this is okay and this isn't. I think I've gone on long enough. I'm about, like, at, like, 19 minutes or whatever, so I will try to do more videos of this. Like I said, I would eventually like to get to where I'm, like, editing and actually, like, making, like, good quality, but until then, is probably what we're going to have to do. I like the solo conversations, but I'd also like to get my buddies involved in this, so hope to see you soon. I'll try to upload more content more frequently, and thanks, guys, for watching.